get him. Go get him. Go get him.
I still have absolutely no idea what that means, Joe. But perhaps we shall find out before the end of this video. At least find out a little something about what it means. I know that a lot of you have been wondering and worrying about where I have been. Has the king been captured? Well, no, the king has not been captured. I know I didn't address Joe Biden's State of the Delusion address. I kind of did on the last video. But he had another speech the very next day at his Building a Better America speech. And well, why don't we just have a gander, and I'll point out the things that you really need to listen to, and then I'll be right back.
Last night I was with your senators and representatives along with their colleagues in Congress to speak about the State of the Union. Together, we sent an unmistakable signal to Ukraine and to the world that we, the United States of America, stand with the Ukrainian people. We stand with them. Vladimir Putin's latest attack on Ukraine is premeditated and unprovoked. He's rejected repeated efforts at diplomacy. He thought the West and NATO wouldn't respond. He thought they could divide us at home, but he was wrong. We were ready. We spent countless hours unifying the European allies. We countered Russia's lies and truth. We countered them by letting them know what was being planned. And now the free world is holding him accountable. Putin is now isolated from the world more than ever and will continue to aid the Ukrainian people as they defend their country and help ease their suffering in the process. When history of this era is written, Ukraine will have left Russia weaker and the rest of the world stronger. Folks, let me close with this. Look, I am truly more optimistic about America today than I've ever been. I really mean it. We're on a path to win the economic competition of the 21st century that we face with the rest of the world. I told Xi Jinping, who I'm told I've met with more than any other world leader, that it's never been a good bet to bet against the American people. Never. Given half a chance, they've never, ever, ever, ever let the country down. We're the only nation that has always turned every crisis we faced into an opportunity. No other nation you can name has gone through a terrible circumstance and come out at the other end worse off than they were before the circumstance occurred. We're stronger today than we were a year ago. And we're going to be stronger a year from now than we are today. So let's keep building. Let's continue to give families a fighting chance. And let's meet this moment together. Go get it!
Okay, I still don't know what that means. But anyway, first and foremost, I want to say congratulations for more sanctions on Vladimir Putin. I've heard people call him Putin, so I'm going to start calling him Putin, because it kind of makes me think of Putin. Secondly, you say you want to stand for them, the Ukrainian people. You stand for them, and you stand with them. You know, that's what we stand with them. But you're not sending any U.S. troops to help them if there is, in fact, a war going on. We'll get to that. So how do you stand for them? It looks more like you're standing on the sidelines cheerleading like the cheerleader you are. Okay? Thirdly, there's a third. What you was telling President Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, about the American people, yeah, you was telling the truth about the American people. but not about the American government, because you won't stand up to anything. Just have a gander at yourselves. Okay? But what you said about American people going through the worst times ever and always coming out at the end on the worst, what did that mean when you said Americans coming out on the worst end? What did that mean? Get back to us on that one. And without further ado, I give you what? Hold on. Before I give you this, the last thing you said about the history books. The only thing that's going to be rewrote in the history books, everybody's going to be remembering, is how these corrupt governments got taken down by their own countries. Now, let's roll to Vladimir Putin. Vladdy.
We did hear from Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin spokesperson, today responding to the State of the Union speech, and particularly to the claim by President Biden that the economy here is shaking. He says, and he admits, and this is interesting, that the Russian economy is now experiencing a serious blow, but he says there is a margin of safety and we will stay on our feet. Now, of course, as you can imagine, the State of the Union overnight, Russians didn't stay up overnight to watch, but you can also imagine that the 6,800 people who've been arrested for protesting, the more than 1 million who have signed petitions for peace, that those people, I suspect, would have liked to have seen President Biden devote the entire speech to the situation in Ukraine, to the battle between a democracy and autocracy, and it was uncomfortable to watch as that speech segued into domestic politics, more traditional speech, and some stood up and some sat down, but that is democracy.
Okay, so Vladimir Putin is bitching and complaining and whining about the sanctions, yet he is doing this, locking his own people up for protesting against this war, a nuclear war, may I remind you, because they don't want to die from nuclear weaponry. Well, can you blame them? Because it's apparent you're not going to die from it, as you all go hide in your holes and blow the rest of the world up. Well, check out this response from America next, and then we'll get to the other response from Putin.
Both the United States and Russia have long agreed that nuclear employment could have devastating consequences. And we both agreed, most recently this year, in the context of the P5 statement, that a nuclear war cannot be won and must never be fought. Such provocative rhetoric and possible changes to nuclear posture involving the most consequential weapons in our respective arsenals is unacceptable. The United States has not taken any similar steps. And so in an effort to demonstrate that we have no intention in engaging in any actions that can be misunderstood or misconstrued, the Secretary of Defense has directed that our Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile test launch, scheduled for this week, to be postponed.
Okay, U.S. government, Joe Biden and his administration, why would you even put that out there? You never, ever release when you're testing ballistic missiles until now, and you say, well, we're going to do that, hopefully calm things down. We're going to say that we're not going to use our weaponry, not going to show it off here at this time. Well, of course, that pissed off Vladimir Putin, and something else that pissed off Putin was my response not getting back to him sooner. Well, you know what? I run on my own timeline, brother man. But check out his response, and then I will be right back.
It is obviously a terrifying thought for everybody in Ukraine and well beyond to think that Russian forces in the middle of this brutal war now control the largest nuclear power plant in all of Europe. They shelled that power plant first. They then engaged in a firefight with Ukrainian forces in and around it, and now we understand they have taken control. President Zelensky of Ukraine says that the Russians would not hesitate to cause a nuclear disaster by breaking open one of those reactors. That seems a little far-fetched, frankly, but President Biden was concerned enough to get on the phone with President Zelensky last night. If there is any good news in all of this, just a modicum of it, it is that the International Atomic Energy Agency says right now they have not seen any noticeable increase in radiation levels in the area. In the meantime, the Russians appear to continue to target civilian structures, not just the military structures that they claim they have been targeting. The Ukrainian officials have put out photographs and video of what they say is a school destroyed by Russian artillery shelling. So this goes on in a brutal fashion, and there is quite simply, Todd and Carly, no end in sight.
So, you want to threaten to blow up nuclear power plants now? Huh? Vladimir Putin? Or is this even your doing at all? This is exactly what I wanted to come to you about, guys. I'm not so sure that this war is real at all. Let me point out a few things to you real quick. First, you had America, Biden, going to Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, and telling Xi Jinping about Vladimir Putin starting a war in Russia. In Ukraine, right? Right. Well then, Xi Jinping goes back behind Biden's back and tells Vladimir Putin about it, okay? Well, Putin says he doesn't know anything about it. He doesn't know what they're talking about, right? He hasn't planned on starting any war in Ukraine. This is what he said, right? Well, right after that, America finds out that Xi Jinping went behind their back, or went behind Biden's back. Biden found out, not America. America really doesn't care who goes behind Biden's back. Anyway, so they say, okay, well, we're going to do this. Let's tell the world Russia's going to be putting out false flag videos of war and propaganda in the Ukraine, right? About a week or so later, here come the videos rolling out. And some of them have even been disproven. Like that ghost of Kyiv shooting down 6 Russian aircraft in a day. It was disproven to be nothing but a comedian sitting in a fighter jet, okay? And then you got all of that going on. You got the war videos coming out of Ukraine, only, out of the Ukraine. I haven't seen any videos coming out of Russia. I haven't seen or heard anything about Russia posting it on any of their media outlets. And then they're pointing fingers. This is the bad guy. This is the bad guy right here. Right there is the bad guy. Everybody look at that bad guy right there. Look, you see that bad guy? He's right there. Right there. Go get him. Go get him. Go get him. Yeah. What did that mean? What did that mean? What I'm telling you is don't believe everything you hear. And don't believe half of what you see. And so, American people, the government's telling you to help the Ukraine. Let's arm the Ukrainian people. This is the same government that are trying to take your guns away. And they found a way to do it. Let's use sympathy. These people are under attack. We don't have the weapons. You're going to have to send your weapons. Now you have no weapons. You can't defend yourself for what's coming next. Start using your brain, people. Scoop out the shit and put the brains back in. And for every one of you self-proclaimed world leaders out there that's got your finger hovering over that button, your grubby little finger, remove it immediately. There's no sense in blowing up the world. So you don't have to worry about it because you'll go hide in your holes. And the rest of the world's going to die for your greed? I don't think so. If you want to fight, fight me. But don't blow up the world. Sincerely yours, your fearless leader and king, King X. And I bid you your due. Yeah, do.
American people. Thank you. Go get him.